So now we're going to move to the next panel, which will take a look at how Nordea, a leading Nordic bank, is revolutionizing customer service with conversational AI. They have deployed 12 virtual agents across 4 Nordic markets and are now handling millions of interactions at remarkable resolution rates. Leading the discussion, we have Henry, our Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder, who brings a vast knowledge and experience working with Nordea and conversational AI in general. From Nordea, we have Olga, product owner, and Marte, digital specialist for Nordea Norway. So please welcome them to the stage.
Okay, nice turnout. Great. Good to see everyone here, clients, customers, partners, and also seeing people coming from the US, bigger part of the Europe, and obviously everyone from the Nordics. But today we're going to talk about Nordea, and obviously great to have you on board. I've been involved in Nordea back in 2017, roughly. You started as an AI trainer at that point.
Yeah.
So you definitely have a lot of experience as an AI trainer, and obviously now being responsible for the AI trainer team. And it's been, I would say, a pretty fantastic journey in terms of like how we actually expanded to those 12 virtual agents as we have today. But I remember when we got the first contract with Nordea, we didn't really have any like legal contract templates in place. I think we only had like 1 or 2 clients at that point. And we actually got Nordea, which is the biggest bank in the Nordics, without only having the company up and running within like less than 1 year. So we were pretty happy with that, to say at least. And obviously also seeing how that has expanded to today. But I think to get kickstarted, we definitely want to dive a bit into kind of how you're using the technology and how we've gotten so far with technology. We also want to go into a bit more how do you see the future and so on. But maybe a question for you, Olga, first, is like how have you kind of come to this point? We have 12 virtual agents across multiple countries, and what has been the strategy and thinking around that?
Yeah, so basically at the time when we started to think that we want to adopt conversational AI, our ultimate goal was to improve customer support. So by providing fast, personalized support to our customers, being available anywhere, anytime, 24/7, without the need waiting in the queues. At the same time, we wanted to free time for our human agents so they would be able to focus to solve more complex errands. Another one real benefit what we have saw at that time with conversational AI style of interaction, it feels so human, natural, personalized to the user, and it also reduces or actually totally remove the problem that most of the customers are not familiar with banking terminology. Another consideration what we have that with conversational AI or with Boost platform in particular, it's very easy to share information toward the customers. For example, latest offers or upcoming technical break, and it can be done by adding it in welcome message or in the relevant intents. And the beauty of Boost platform that it allows to be done by directly AI trainers without any technical development or deployment.
Yeah.
And basically the last point would be that what is exciting about conversational AI and Boost platform, that it gives valuable insights which we can use not only for improving virtual agent, but also allowing us to create customer-centric products. So, in other words, if I would summarize that, what led our company to adopt conversational AI, first, providing fast customer support 24/7 in automatic manner, second, reducing cost, and third, valuable data insights.
Great insights, and I think obviously the customer experience and the automation is definitely a common theme, I think, when we talk about this. And I think another interesting part of your journey is that you also kind of started out in one country, but then you expanded to multiple countries and regions. you do externally facing, but you also do internal facing. So a question obviously for both of you, maybe starting with Marte, is like, okay, how has there been any kind of challenges, and kind of what is the learning scaling across the different regions, but also different use cases?
Yes, there has been challenges, period.
Okay. You want to elaborate? Or?
No, for starters, we first started out in Norway, and as a standalone solution first, and we've seen that it didn't give us the amount of conversations that we really needed to get the full potential out, and at that time, we had several vendors on our chatbots in different countries. So back in 2019-20, we switched to Boost for all countries, and that has definitely been so much easier because now we can get the benefit from development, Nordic development in all countries, enabling us to get it in production very fast. And of course, it helps having a platform that allows the AI trainers to get it out and done soon.
Do you see any difference in terms of the customer experience across the regions? Or do we think about like serving like Norwegian or Swedish or Danish or Finnish in the same way? Are you trying to kind of make a unified customer experience, or do you kind of try to make any kind of different approaches to customer experience?
I don't see that customer experience is different in a way, so we try to build common Nordic solutions. But of course, the challenge, what I see here, that products and services arise across different Nordic markets, business areas, and it requires support in all local languages. And of course, these variations need to be taken into consideration when conversational flows are built. And it's still kind of open question how we balance the variation of local needs and at the same time creating one common scalable solution. And I think probably many of you also facing the same issue or the same challenge, and after panel discussion I would be happy to discuss how you overcome this problem in your company, in your context.
Yeah. Marte, in terms of kind of working with the platform, you have a team kind of responsible for building out kind of the knowledge and so on. So how do you kind of create the scalability with the Boost platform, and obviously also make sure that you have this high resolution rate, creating this good customer experience?
Well, I think that's on you, actually.
Yeah.
That's because of you. The beauty of the Boost platform is that it was made available for people without technical degree, me included, and that has made us able to kind of create the impact right at the front line, because no one knows the customers better than the ones who's actually talking with them and having contact from a day-to-day basis. And then who could better build a VA to handle these same customers? So that has definitely been a huge reason for our success.
Okay, so the AI trainers working in the team today are recruited then from the customer support teams?
Customer service agent.
Okay.
And we still have a balance between customer service and AI trainers. So they work part-time with both, so they never lose touch with the customers.
I guess you also do you have developers supporting when needed? Is that more kind of on a kind of time-by-time basis, or?
Yeah, it is. We have a Nordic development, as mentioned earlier, and when the AI trainers get to do the kind of frontline work, the developers get time and space to actually do what's important, looking at the next step, developing cool features and so forth. So we save time as a company too.
Yeah, I could add upon on that. We have very good and close collaboration between development team and teams of AI trainers, and I guess it was one of the key successes as well in getting resolution rate up and making our Nova better.
Okay. Are you getting also the kind of the buy-in for the developers, the people working with the tech, also to kind of see the vision you have for the product?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. In terms of self-service is obviously super important with this. We talked about automation, how you can kind of do more with less and so on. But what is kind of the other benefits in terms of the customer experience using this type of technology? And a question for you, Olga.
Yes, so we see several benefits that Nova is able to redirect our customers to the self-service. The first one, it's For customers, it's the fastest way to solve their errands. For example, if customer has forgotten his PIN code to the card, instead of waiting in the queue to our customer service, by chatting with Nova, he will land in the right place in mobile or NetBank application where the PIN code can be checked. So customer problems will be solved within the minutes. Second of all, I see that Nova has educational experience for our customers. So Nova helped them to learn how to use our self-services. And most probably next time they can do it by themselves. From technical point of view, I see that we're reusing already existing self-service solutions. So we are on the path of sustainable development.
Thank you. Marte, question for you. I know it's been super important for you to kind of apply what we call a chat-first strategy, meaning that you have Nova as kind of the first point of entry for the customer coming in, obviously with the possibility to talk to a human if needed. Can you elaborate a bit kind of, how has that been in terms of probably some challenges? And,
there were challenges there too.
But also kind of how you kind of resolve those and kind of how you're seeing these things going forward.
Yeah. Back then, we've had Nova in front for 3 years now in all channels for external Nova. And back then, 3 years ago, it was people mostly thought about stupid chatbots and were annoyed with using VAs in general. And actually, Nova was awarded by a Norwegian webpage at that time for being the least stupid chatbot tested. I think the headline of the article was something like, this is... It was a win. The headline was something like, this is how stupid Norwegian chatbots are. So it's quite safe to say that the perception of chatbots in general were, quite poor. But we were aware of it, and we knew that it had potential to create some friction. But then again, we had to do something to increase volumes because we weren't getting the return on investment that we were hoping for. The automation value for customer service weren't in place. We didn't get the data insights and the conversations that we needed. So we had to do something at some point. So what we did to kind of get the best of both worlds was that we went for a very soft approach strategy where we made it super, super easy for the customers to get in touch with a human. The human was never far away, available 24/7, and we had information in the welcome message on whenever you need it, there's a human available. We made sure that escalation was available for any intents where we knew Nova couldn't answer and so forth. And we also had a soft launch in the channel, so we didn't launch in all channels at once.
How are you kind of working with that today, though? Is there any, is it a goal in itself to kind of increase the volume a lot, or is it more kind of focus on kind of using the most appropriate channel to kind of handle customers? Are you kind of looking into kind of doing more with Nova, or you feel like now we are happy and we're not going to do anything more? Hopefully the answer no to that. But just understanding a bit kind of how you kind of work with this going forward.
Yeah, we have, for the last years, the focus has been on creating the value that I just mentioned. But we're at a state now where we kind of have picked all the low-hanging fruits, so we definitely need to look at the next step.
Okay, interesting. Anything to add on this one?
Yeah, I think we're also looking very much on increasing of personalized intents as well, so to make it personal for customers. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's obviously a great way of using it, looking at it in the next level. And I think also with the generative AI technology coming now, and there is a lot of, I would say, new things which will be available also in the Boost platform pretty soon, in terms of kind of how we create the next level of customer experience. Because you are definitely one of the pioneers in this space. And again, it hasn't been without kind of any, I would say, hurdles on the way. And I think there was a new award now. So I think it's the perception around chatbots and conversational AI in general has definitely been increasing a lot the latest year. And I think also now with ChatGPT, we're also seeing that the bar is probably going to be raised even more. So people also will expect more. So that would be something I think every one of us also need to take home with us, that we need to start, just continue building it out and making sure we have a fantastic solution.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just a bit in terms of the KPIs. I think we talked about automation, we talked about customer experience and so on, but what is the KPIs you kind of look into when you do a project, and maybe starting with you?
Yeah, so our main KPI is resolution rate, which is based on the customer feedback asked when the chat is closed. And this KPI is not only development team, it's also for the teams of IE trainers, which means that development team creates technical capabilities which helps IE trainers to create more personalized, enriched content in such way in improving customer experience. So this KPI helps us to use several teams' synergy to reach our common goals, like improving virtual agent, increasing customer satisfaction. In addition, we have some local KPIs to follow, and Marte, maybe you could elaborate more on that.
Yeah, sure. As you said, we have some local KPIs too, because the resolution rate itself, it's a good measurement. It's something to strive for. It's something that tells us about the value that Nova is creating for Nordea. But then again, it doesn't say too much about how Nova is performing. Like, a customer can say that, no, I didn't get the help I needed because the self-service that Nova linked to didn't work, or they were dissatisfied with having to pay a fee for their extra card. So we use the data that we find in Boost. Probably known to all of you, things like unknown, conversational quality, just following traffic on key traffic driving intents. And we don't follow them, like, we don't have a goal that we should reach, but we follow them to see that we have a positive trend. And if we don't, we know that we have to do something. Mm-hmm. And by the way, just have to pick the opportunity to give an applause for the new Boost AI statistics platform, because it has made it 1,000,000 times easier to follow.
I appreciate that. So, yeah. It's good to hear. And obviously that feedback, it's great that we have that in place, but also having that continuous feedback to us is super important, and I know you've been helping us with that, so keep that coming. Obviously, there's been a lot of insights already today in terms of kind of what is the key learnings. Is there anything you kind of want to highlight maybe as the kind of the key learnings working with this technology in general?
Yeah, so I think I probably mentioned before, but I would like to highlight it more, key learnings, actually the data insights, what we are getting from conversational AI, and especially from Boost platform, is really kind of capturing what are the customer pain points, runs to be solved, or frequently asked questions. And by analyzing this data, you really can understand what are the customer needs and desires, and it helps us also to move towards creating more customer-centric products. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, of course, it brings revenue value for our company as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I think that this way of working has given us access to data in a different way, data that we didn't have, or we had the data before, but not in such a structured way. So we can follow the customer needs in real time, right there and then, and do changes accordingly to what we find. Yeah.
Great. To round off, and obviously you are available for questions in the breaks and lunch and ever, and I think during the night, so please use that opportunity. But I think to round off, it would be great just to get a perspective from you guys in terms of what is next for Nova and Nordea. What is kind of the roadmap? I'm not sure if you're able to share everything, but obviously what you can share.
Yeah, I can start from that. I think everybody in our audience today agree that future development is very exciting, especially in IE space, yeah. But when it comes to banking industry, I can highlight that we're looking into context-aware chatbot, so meaning that virtual agent would know from what place it has been launched, and based on that information, it will provide answers to the customers. So meaning that best case scenario, customer doesn't need to type anything. In addition, we are looking how we could increase traffic in sales-related matters, and of course, increasing personalized intents. We're eager to know how we could even more improve human agent efficiency, so they would have more time to focus on more proactive tasks. And for that, human agent handover, pre-written context responses are future development in that direction.
Anything to add on that?
No, I just think that it's hard to predict where we're going, really, because everything is happening so quick, and the development within AI in general is, So I'm just excited to see where we're at in a year or two.
It's an exciting time when we obviously will have a walk through a bit kind of what's coming and what's already coming in the platform, and hopefully you get access to that soon. I think with that, I want to thank you both for joining today. Great to get your insights. Obviously, talk to them if you get a chance. They have a lot of insights about this technology in general, so please use that opportunity. But thank you.
Thank you.